Hey guys, welcome to TFL Live.
Yeah, live with a vehicle that some of you may not know, but it might be a better handling, better driving vehicle than the legendary Volkswagen GTI.
No, get out.
Yes.
No, I don't buy it.
I have paper right here that might prove it.
All right, so we're of course talking about the brand new Kona N, Nathan. And this is the third N in the N lineup.
That's right. And for those of you who don't know, and I'm probably going to mispronounce this because I mispronounce everything, including my own name, it is N for the Nanjing Ring, which is actually in Korea, and they use that to test their vehicles, and it is a driving course.
Yeah, so this is the Kona N. First we had the Veloster, and then the Veloster N, and then the Elantra and the Elantra N. Now we have the Kona and the Kona N. And dude, this is a hatchback going right after the GTI, wouldn't you say?
Kind of, but they consider it, for some reason, a crossover, and that's because it's a little bit higher, and you can get, with the regular one, an all-wheel drive vehicle. However, this one is front-wheel drive only, and it has an 8-speed dual-clutch transmission.
And I have a good question about that is kind of confounding, but I'm going to leave it till the end of this live show to ask, because I want to kind of go over it and kind of show people what makes this car special. First of all, what do you think of the color? Sonic blue.
Actually, I like the colors that they're using for N. The one thing I don't like with a lot of them, and this is a personal thing, I'm sure you guys are different, I'm not a big fan of the red trim. I don't like red trim. Roman loves red. I'm not a big red guy. I would like it to be black or something like that. But otherwise, I think it looks cool. It makes the car look special. The wheels are especially good looking. And these 19-inch wheels, those are Pirelli P0s on there, baby. So this thing is built for serious performance. It's more than just the wheels and tires. The whole suspension has been completely upgraded to make this thing handle way better.
I like the N red brakes, the brake calipers.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. And I like the fact that there's a lot of stuff that's bespoke on the car, so it's not like you're just getting stickers and a beefier engine. There's a lot more to it, and it does make the car look a little bit more special.
So before we get to all that, let's have a quick conversation with the viewers. We're doing this live show because I was reading the comments, and they said they'd like to have a conversation with us. So this is your opportunity to actually talk to us. And somebody already donated some money. Old Timer again. You rock, Old Timer. Thank you very much.
Old Timer, you're the man. You've been supporting us for a while. Thank you very much.
So this is your chance to talk to us directly. So if you have any questions, we will, of course, endeavor to do the best. Now, there's a whole bunch of cool stuff going on at TFL, Nathan.
A ton of stuff.
First and foremost, we just concluded our series Go Big.
That's right. The final episode was this past Saturday.
Yeah, and all that is at alltfl.com. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. People say we've got a lot of content all in one place just for you. But we've now brought back from the dead TFL Bid. So if you want to buy Tommy's Suburban, it's for sale right now.
I was trying to convince Tommy to sign it officially. And I'll tell you what, if you guys do go there and bid on it, and if it's a nice bid, I think he'll sign it.
So we paid $4,000 for it.
Yeah.
Then we put like $1,000 worth of mechanicals into it.
Yeah.
Brand new BFGs. And right now it's I think at $2,000. What a bargain.
So far it's a bargain. We're expecting it a little bit more. By the way, a lot of the vehicles that were on Go Big, people wonder about this. Like, why didn't we lift it and put sirens on it? Well, actually, one of the reasons was because we had to actually make them safe to drive. So all of them have been gone through by Toby.
Yep.
And they are all safe to drive. And which means they've been given upgrades, and we paid a lot of money for them.
So let's face it, the Suburban's a little clapped out. Tommy's door doesn't close. The back barn doors are kind of tricky to open, but it is mechanically solid.
Though. Yeah, the engine's excellent, and the suspension's well sorted. I mean,
yeah.
And now it has really expensive tires on it.
Yeah, and the good thing is gas is at an all-time low, so if you're filling it up, it costs you $20-$30, right?
Oh, yeah, easily. I mean, that's for, $20 or $30, that's like 3 gallons in California.
So that may be a downside, but it's over at TFL Bids. Also, we have a first iteration Sorento up there, which is pretty badass.
Those Sorentos are cool. They had a frame. They were actually a proper little truck.
Body on frame, yeah.
Yeah, they're badass. I actually knew somebody who has one. Andre's dad has one.
I know. They're really good. They have a proper low range.
Yeah, it's a cool car.
So that thing's up to like $2K, if you don't mind cigarette burns in the seats.
So what?
And all the accompanying aromas.
All the aroma. Wait, we can deal with that. You guys can handle that. It's just the smell. It's not the actual cigarette, right?
Wouldn't that be cool if actually used car salesmen were like us and were actually honest about the vehicle? As opposed to it was only driven by an old lady on
who
Sunday
died in the car, and they forget that part. And,
so I got a little confession, Nathan. I'm proud of the vehicles that we have.
Sure.
And after we went to Moab, they were a little dirty. I mean, when I say a little dirty, like half the sand of the White Rim Trail was in there. So
Especially the expedition, or the excursion, which is massive.
So I'm a little anal, so I took it to the car wash, and then there's this new car wash in town that has these vacuums that will suck the hair off your head.
Well, for me, that's kind of a moot point, but okay. I believe it.
And so I'm like sucking. And then the guy we bought it from was a little sketchy, maybe a little. You can never quite pin him down, so I'm always a little worried about that. The car was good. The guy was, yeah. So
Okay.
I'm vacuuming, and first I found, like, I'm not joking, like 30 cans of Red Bull under the seat.
Are you sure that wasn't Tommy's?
I know.
Okay.
Tommy doesn't drink Red Bull.
Yeah, okay.
And then I'm vacuuming, and I noticed that there's this little tiny bag. It's like this big. It's like this little bag, like a postage stamp size bag,
here we go.
full of brown powder.
Brown powder?
Some kind of brownish like powder.
It's not anthrax.
No, it's more like heroin, I think. I don't know. Before I had too much time to consider.
Wait a minute. Our budget's really cut right now. Maybe we should try to sell that. Just kidding.
There was all kinds of white powder all over it. But before I had time to consider it, it got sucked up in the vacuum, so it's gone. But it was pretty weird.
Okay, well, we'll just leave it at that. If you are the former owner of the vehicle, and if you're looking for the heroin, there are plenty of places in Boulder.
It's somewhere in a car wash in Longmont. But the car, mechanically, the guy took good care of it. The engine's sound, it drives, its transmission's good, the brakes are good, the tires are new. If you don't mind having to slam the door hard. And for the most part, everything works on it.
I never told you one of the weirdest things I found. Remember the little red Blazer in our previous series?
Yeah.
The little Blazer that I had?
Yeah.
I was vacuuming that out. And
what did you find in there?
A whole bunch of 9mm shells. Shells, not the bullets, just the old spent shells. A whole bunch of them in this one spot.
Oh, somebody shooting out of their car?
Someone was shooting out of the car and then gathered up the evidence and put it away or something like that.
Are there drive-through shooting ranges?
Not here in Colorado. I think there is in Nevada. I kid you not. I think you could do it in Nevada. But
or drive-by.
Well, that's LA.
Okay. All right.
Why do you think I moved here?
All right. Well, let's go back to the Kona.
Yeah.
There are three variations on a Kona, right? There's the Kona, which is the regular car. There's the N line, which looks like this car.
A little bit like this car, yeah.
And then, of course, the magic happens when I open up the hood, because this is where it becomes a little bit more GTI-like.
A lot more GTI-like, actually. And one thing about Hyundai is that even though they're moving a lot of their stuff to electric, they love turbocharging as well. We are talking about an engine that puts out 276 horsepower and 289 pound-feet of torque. But there's something very important that Roman's going to show you later on inside that makes this spit out an additional 10 horsepower for 20 seconds. It's the grin factor.
Yeah, the N grin factor. And that is something that is really video game-like, and it's pretty cool that they actually included it in a car that drives in the real world, not just in the metaverse. So any questions?
Yeah, actually, Jeff was asking if there's any indication if Hyundai's going to come out with a manual version of this car. And right now, there are no indications. It has the 8-speed dual clutch, which is a funny thing because this is where it belongs. They put the dual clutch in a lot of other vehicles, which I feel it doesn't belong, but that's a whole different conversation.
I agree. We have that Hyundai Santa Cruz. It's much better with the 8-speed automatic with the torque converter versus a dual clutch. I don't know what it is with Hyundai and dual clutches.
But this is where it belongs.
Yeah, this is a track
because it's a performance car, right? Yeah. Exactly. And you can slam through the gears and everything else, and it works great. But the answer is no. As far as we know, only certain cars are available through Hyundai.
The Blaster.
Yeah, but not this.
So Paul took this on the track, loved it, which is surprising because he hates everything.
Yes, I know. Seriously,
if it's not a Porsche,
I know. But he was most of the N cars he's very happy with.
Yeah, and you know why that is?
Well, because they really set up the suspension that's important to him.
But why is that?
Because he can reach the steering wheel?
No, that's funny.
I hope you're not watching.
It's not the reason. The reason is because Hyundai basically hired the old M guy from BMW, Albert Biermann.
Biermann, that's right.
The guy who actually tuned the M cars. So he came along and went to whatever that name of that ring is,
Nanjing,
and tuned this. And so when you drive it, it's not surprising that in a lot of ways it drives like a performance BMW. And there's more, Nathan, on the inside here. Let me show you guys. Come on in with me.
We're going to fire up the light. So
Yeah.
you guys can actually see in there.
So look, there's 2 buttons on the steering wheel, 2 N buttons. Those seem
Yeah.
reminiscent of any other near to N letter that you can think of? Just like the M, right? Like the
Yeah.
M buttons on a BMW, you can program these to customize your personal settings. How cool is that?
That's really cool. Actually, there's a bunch of settings in this vehicle. You can put it in, so the drive modes are Eco, Normal, Sport, Snow. Then the N one comes, so N. And then finally there's a Custom. And that's what Roman's talking about, the custom setting.
And then there's this red button, right? The N-Grin button.
That's the Joy button.
Yeah. What does that do, Nathan? What does this
That
little red
gives
button do?
you, it's an overboost button. It gives you an additional 10 horsepower for 20 seconds.
Which is pretty cool. And so then after you use it, I think you have 40 seconds before you can use it again. Now check out the seats. They're certainly very supportive. You can see that this car has performance in mind. And
Yeah.
I got to show these guys my favorite feature. And I got
Well, while you're getting in there, somebody mentioned that this needs all-wheel drive, and I would agree with that, but at least for now, it's not happening.
So once again, we have real buttons, Nathan.
Yeah.
How about that?
I really like that. I much prefer that over the push screen.
We have heated seats, which is
Yeah.
nice too. We have real buttons up here as well. We have an audio volume knob and a tuning knob. This is all perfect. USB wireless charging, USB-C, and then here I'm going to start up just briefly. I got to show you my favorite feature of this car. Check this out. So watch what happens when you put it in sport mode. Check this out. Look, you get like red controls, and then watch what happens when you hit the N-Grin button. Oh, conditions not met, so probably not warm enough. So we can't use it inside. It's probably a good thing because we would quickly be...
We're getting some pixelation in here.
Okay, why don't you run out to the back and just let them hear the exhaust note?
Yeah, I'll put my mic by it.
Yeah, put your mic by it. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead, give it some juice.
How about that? That's sport mode.
Smells like victory and sounded great. I love the fact that it crackles and pops when you drive it. That is really cool. It's kind of like old school stuff, and you know, they actually tune it to do that. There is no reason nowadays why these exhaust systems have to sound super macho, but I'm really glad that they do.
So, hey, try sitting in the back. Let's see if you...
Yeah, that's the problem.
Actually... But you're not going to be able to get your feet back there. Look.
No, and this is the biggest problem with the Kona. All Konas have a tiny rear seat, and other competitors have bigger rear seats, especially when you slide all the way back with the driver. In fact, Jay, who's our producer, is a lot smaller than us. Seriously, sit in over there, Jay.
Yeah. Let's see if you can fit. How tall are you, Jay? You're on the side.
5'4".
5'4".
Yeah, I mean, come on, that's tight for you.
That's bad.
How about headroom?
Headroom, I'm fine
Yeah.
with, but
Yeah, the head. It's the leg room in these things. It's such a shame because in terms of competition, there's a lot of other guys out there that do build a better or larger back seat, I should say. So anyway, sorry to put you through that, Jay. Jay, our new producer, folks, give him a hand.
And then take a look at this. I love this. I love this little spoiler.
Yeah, this is functional. This does provide actual downforce. As a matter of fact, a lot of the components that are on N cars, which look like they're just there to be frivolous, according to Hyundai, are all functional.
Let's see how much room there is in the back here. Let me light it up.
Hey, Andrew Barley just sent us $5, and he's asking, is there enough room for someone over 6'3" in the front seats? Well, Roman's 6'2", and with the hairstyle, almost 6'3".
I fit fine.
And he fits fine.
Yeah, with the seat all the way back. You know, pretty good. Interesting thing that I discovered, Nathan. I don't know if this is our car or if it's all. Looks like normally.
I believe that that is an option, and you pull it out because of weight. The one thing you want to get rid of is something that's going to weigh this car down.
If you had a regular Kona, you'd have a space saver.
I almost guarantee it.
Yeah. What do you think of those exhausts?
I love them.
Aren't they good?
Big, fat, mean, and they sound good too.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds really good, especially when you hit the N button. So there must be baffles in the exhaust.
Oh, I'm sure of it. And, you know, on top of that, once again, as I mentioned, for performance, I'm pretty sure that these are not necessary, but for people who just love this stuff, they are absolutely necessary.
So I went on the launch of the Kona, Nathan.
Yeah, you did.
And I got to meet, in Kona, that was pretty cool. I got to meet and talk with the designer, Chris.
Yeah.
And Chris came from BMW, actually, as well. So he did the second generation X5. Which is a pretty good one.
It's a pretty good one, yeah. I was worried that it was a guy named Mangle, who I'm not a big fan of.
No. He's done a lot of cool cars. He's a true... I mean, when Jeep did this, I didn't love it because when you look at the front, right, these are not the lights. Those are the driving lights. These are the headlights.
Yeah, but Hyundai did a much better job. And the Jeep thing grew on me after a while too. So it's actually sweep over the grill a little bit there. I wanted to show everybody. So you know how a lot of grills are useless? Hyundai does this a lot too. Well, other than these slots here, which are frankly useless, but on all Konas they are, so the rest of this grill opens up pretty nicely because it does need that extra cooling. And if you drop down a little bit, you'll see that that lower grill is functional.
So Nathan, I've got some questions. Mark Cooper asked, what does this compare to? In other words, compete the Mazda CX-30 turbo?
No.
No.
The CX-30 is far more refined, and it's not built for performance. This is.
You know what? A good way to start with that, people ask us, how do we know what segment, how it competes with? A good way is you look at the MSRP. So what's the MSRP on this?
Yeah, the MSRP is $34,200. Now, bear in mind that you can get one of these for a little bit less, but that is pretty much the price it comes in. And that is only front-wheel drive. It's only with this engine. It's only with these options. So it's all kind of one package.
So let's talk about what it competes with. I think the one big downside to this car, and somebody already mentioned it, is no all-wheel drive. Right. You've got the Blaster, no all-wheel drive. You got the Elantra N, no all-wheel drive. And now you got this one. I don't understand why they wouldn't have made this all-wheel drive, because that would have set it apart from the Veloster and the Elantra.
I would agree.
And then it would make it compete with cars like the WRX, for instance.
It would, but I think they didn't want to go there. I think what they wanted to go was directly to Volkswagen. This competes directly with the Volkswagen GTI. And on paper, this has higher output. It's more horsepower, more torque, but it's a little bit heavier than the GTI. So this would compete with the GTI, even though technically speaking, it's a crossover. Its wheelbase is close, its length is close, its width is close, and actually, other than these roof rails, if we got rid of these, it would almost be the same height. So there's a lot that it has in common with that, even though it's marketed. Also, the Veloster really isn't this type of hatchback. This is almost a wagon. And if you look at, of course, the other, the Sonata or the Elantra.
And that's a sedan.
Those are sedans.
And then if they had given it all-wheel drive, right, it actually wouldn't have competed with the WRX, since WRX now only comes as a sedan. Go figure.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you give it a hatchback?
Well, the STI still comes as a hatch, but that's still old tech.
Now you're up like another...
Yeah, I know. Then you're a lot more power and a lot more performance. So there are other vehicles out there that it competes against if you think about front-wheel drive hot hatches.
How about a Civic Type R? I think it's...
the Civic Type R doesn't put out as much power.
No, more. It's over 300.
It's over. Sorry, I'm thinking of the Civic SI.
So the Civic Type R is more powerful.
Yeah, the Civic, but we haven't driven the new one yet.
No, and it's also only available in a manual transmission.
Yeah, thank God.
And it's got those goofy sports seats, which I don't fit into.
But we don't know about the new one yet. Yeah. We haven't tried it, so maybe they eased up those new seats.
You think my big, fat American ass is going to fit into those?
You think mine is? I'm whiter than him, so this is why Jay's like, yeah, suckers. Yeah, he knows.
Look. I would be all over this in a heartbeat if it were all-wheel drive. Right? So
it would kill up here, I'll tell you.
Out of the three, I'd probably just go with the Veloster, just because it's
it's lighter.
It's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit more unique with that, one door on one side, two on the other. The interior on this is nicer.
Yeah.
The interior on this is like another step above a Veloster, or in par with the Elantra N, so much nicer interior. Veloster's a little plasticky.
Yeah.
But I really wish they had given it all-wheel drive. It would potentially compete even with the new Corolla GR, which is coming, which is going to be a lot more expensive, right? So if you could build a budget Corolla GR, let's say this is 34, and all-wheel drive would cost what, another $4,000, $5,000?
I'd be nice to say 3,000, but yeah.
Yeah, so let's say it's 3,000. So now you're at 36. The Corolla GR is going to be a $50,000 car. You know it.
Well, the markups will be, but I don't think it's going to be that expensive out of the box.
They haven't disclosed pricing yet.
No, but the European version, the Yaris,
smaller.
Yeah, it is a little bit smaller, but it's basically the same powertrain.
Yeah,
That is, I believe, in euros, I think it is like 45. So
that's 50 US.
I guess it's 50 US.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's going to be like 49. Roughly. So anyway, that's my only problem with it. Driving it around, it puts a huge smile on my face. I fit at least in the front seat.
Yeah, the front seats.
It's quick. The one thing that now has reset my brain is driving electric cars. So this is a quick car, but electric cars are so much quicker. At least, so here's the difference, guys. As automotive journalists, and I know this is really confusing, and I hate it when people actually get this wrong, but people in the vernacular always confuse fast and quick, right? Yeah. So fast is top speed, quick is 0 to 60. So when people mean quick, they say fast.
Yeah, I even do that sometimes.
Yeah, we all do it. It's just common. But
Yeah.
but you know, this is quick and it's fast.
Yes.
Whereas electric cars tend to be quick but not fast
Yeah,
necessarily.
top speeds on electric cars tend to be an issue. Also, look, this thing is 32. What was 34? What was it? Oh yeah, $34,200.
And what,
Right?
MPG 25 or so combined?
Yeah,
27 highway, right? 20.
20 city and 27 highways. Highway's pretty good for this, considering how beefy it is. But the one thing about this vehicle, can you name a hatchback that is quicker than this that's an electric car for the same price?
It might be the problem, quite honestly, with a dual clutch in a drag race is they're slow because
Yes.
they don't take
And
off.
you have the turbo, which is lag too.
And they don't take off. So I think this would easily, maybe not easily, but it would, the Mini SE would give it a run for its money at a mile above sea level. Here
That
in
would be
Colorado.
worth seeing, honestly.
And the other thing that is just so frustrating right now, we're sitting here talking as if we live in a world where you can go to your dealership and buy one of these.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And we know, guys, we get it all the time because we are talking about vehicles that cost $45,000, $55,000, $60,000, and you guys are like, look, there is no dealership that carries it. Here's some good news, though.
Yeah.
There are some guys out there, some dealerships that still are trying to sell vehicles at MSRP. They're out there. You just have to really look for them.
Or somebody made the comment that it's not what car you want, it's what car they decide to build.
Right. It's whatever is available right now during this particular time. But, you know, the chip shortage won't last forever.
The latest numbers are interesting, right? We were at the height last year selling 17 million units, which is another word for cars and trucks a year. This year, annualized sales are more like 12 million. So we're down 5 million vehicles, and that's, you know,
That's a huge amount.
Yeah, so we get it, guys. I drive by two dealerships on the way here, Jeep and GMC, and none of them. It must be frustrating if you're a dealer. What's it like if you're a dealer and you're sitting there and you know you've got nothing to sell, right? Because most of those cars that are going through the dealerships are either pre-orders or somehow have been found online and they're gone.
Yeah, although we are hearing stories that some dealerships not only are unscrupulous by pricing, you know, pushing up the
I shouldn't say
price.
unscrupulous. They're just taking advantage.
Some of them are really. I mean, but other ones are like doubling and tripling prices. Come on.
Yeah,
that's just not, especially on cars that people really need as opposed to sports cars.
If you value customers in a long-term relationship, I think that's just a stupid business practice.
Long-term relationship is exactly the point. By the way, before we answer the next question, Roman, I believe, no, it wasn't you, it was the other guys, did a story on Ford's new model for selling electric vehicles. They're going to go to an all-online setup similar to what Tesla's doing, which basically will eliminate dealerships. And that, I think, a lot of you guys are going to be very happy about. We'll see how it works. But this is just their electric cars. It's not for their internal combustion cars yet.
So people are having a little bit of argument online. They're saying that soon Hyundai will go to an N model for every vehicle. I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be a Santa Cruz N. I don't think there's probably going to be an N. I always get them mixed up. Is it Telluride a Hyundai or is it
No, it's the Palisade.
Yeah, I get those two. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever going to be an N Palisade. I mean,
you guys might be right. I know Roman's saying that right now, but there might be an N-line version of all of them.
Yeah, sure, N-line, but not N.
Just like what BMW and even Mercedes do with their AMG version of something or their M version of something. It's not an actual M, it's not an actual AMG, but it has components from those vehicles. I think that's what they'll do.
So which of the three would you get? Would you get the Kona, the Elantra, which is a little sedan, or the Veloster?
Well, the Elantra is the only one with the manual, right?
I think the Veloster comes with a manual too.
Oh yeah, the Veloster. Then a Veloster. I get the Veloster too. You know what? I love it in that blue. It's that Gulf blue.
Yeah.
It looks like it's from Le Mans.
I know.
Oh my God, that is so cool. And I mean, it would be next to useless for me because I couldn't put my kids in there very easily or any of that other stuff, but it's a really cool car. And I have driven that extensively and it was absolutely a joy.
That's why I get this one, just because it's the most utilitarian.
This is more utilitarian, right?
I mean, even though the back seat's a little short, you could move it up and you could live with,
driving just something kind of different about the Veloster. You know, it's just like, it's not every car you see.
Yeah.
This would blend in a little bit to me. But look, all of the performance between all of these is really good. I'm thrilled that they're still doing this in the day and age where everybody's going electric or electrification, right?
Yeah. And, at some point, these will also be electric.
Yep.
Well, any other questions before we say au revoir? We're almost gone our half hour. I'm going to look here. Ford Maverick ST is still on the table.
Yeah, actually, we did a video on that too. So if you go to TFL Truck, you're going to see that video.
So they're saying maybe there might be a Santa Cruz N. I don't know.
I mean, it really depends. Right now, they just sell every single one they build. So the question is whether or not they're considering doing that. Yes, I'm sure they're considering it, but they want to make sure they had a return on their investment. So whenever they build one of these, they're adding more money to the pot. So that means that you're spending more money out there. Will you be willing to spend an extra 10 grand to get an N version? Who knows?
JC has a good point. He said the BMW makes a blank ton of M vehicles, right?
Yeah.
Things that you wouldn't think are going to be M.
Yeah.
Right.
Almost everything they have has an M version.
So maybe with Bierman in place, we'll see that as well.
Well, I'll give Bierman some credit because I actually like looking at Hyundais more than I looking at BMWs. I know you guys were just there. I had to do a story, by the way, it's from TFL Car. If you look at a BMW in any direction other than the front of it, they're still good-looking cars. But I don't get nauseated when I look at the nose of a Hyundai, of any Hyundai. I do when I see the new BMW snout. I'm sorry, I still can't get past that snout.
Somebody else said that this looks like the Jeep Cherokee, right?
A little bit, yeah, and it does.
It's got the same design language.
Yeah, with this upper section, but I love this headlight design. And this is the actual headlight, and I think these look really cool. I don't know, I mean, for a Kona, you managed to wake it up and make it look a little bit more sporty. And
well, what's interesting with Jeep, right? They initially, with the Cherokee, they initially went with this lower headlight, higher kind of alien look, and then they went away from it. They made it look much more traditional in the refresh. With these guys, they've stuck with it. But the crazy thing about Hyundai is, like, every 4 years or 3 years, they take a car and completely redesign it. I mean, it looks completely different. Like the Elantra today looks like nothing like the previous Elantra. So I'm thinking that the next version of the Kona is going to be something completely different from this. It's not like a evolution. It's like a clean sheet design for every vehicle they build. I don't know how they manage to do it, but they do.
They do. And then to add to that, they've been up on the times. Think about it. They have electrification, and their electrification's kicking butt. The Ioniq 5 is one of the best electric cars I've driven this year. One of the best I've driven this year. And I've driven its brother, the EV6. And the EV6 is more sporty, but not as comfortable. I had headroom, I had legroom. It was a big, comfortable car. It was great.
There's an electric version of the Kona, too.
Yes, there is, but it doesn't have the legroom and the headroom. And there's also, in terms of Kia's side, the Niro. We just did a video on that. And there's 3 different Niros, and they're electrified as well. And that's the direction they're going in. And the electrification is cool because it gives you more power, yet better mileage.
All right, so here's our suggestions to you, Hyundai. You're great if you're watching us.
Yeah.
First, consider, I don't know how expensive it would be. They've got to have a drivetrain. Consider making this all-wheel drive. I think you'd have this world to yourself at this point. There's nobody else that you can, there's nothing else that can compete with it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, WRX, but it's a sedan, so.
It is a sedan, and still the power numbers are pretty close in terms of weight and all that. And I know that you guys have competed in the WRC before and done very well.
Give it 2 more inches. That's
we all
want
take. That.
Yes, we do, Nathan.
But
this is doable, actually, without spending crazy amounts of money, I suppose, with weird augmentation surgery. But give it 2 more inches. Otherwise, you know, I think the engine's a gem. I think you've nailed the performance. It's a little, when you drive it, it's a little on the stiff side.
Yeah, it is.
But it is a performance vehicle. And then I'm good with it. You know, I am good. Maybe go and give it even a crazier wing. Just really go like
to do even to differentiate it even more.
Yeah, like maybe a little bit more aero, just to make it. I think it looks, to my eye, it's good, but it could. You know, you've got like all kinds of versions of this, right? Yeah. Kona, N-Line, electric. Yeah. Make this one like scream like I am the top dog. Kona.
Give it a racing stripe. Racing stripe.
Hood scoop maybe. Functional?
No. Functional one, yes.
Yeah.
I will say one other thing about this. This is the most German-Korean car I've driven. Other cars are a little bit weird, which is cool because Koreans are kind of like, you know, hey, they build something a little different. This one feels almost German by comparison.
Somebody wants to know if it comes with a fire extinguisher. Oh, come on.
Oh, come on.
Come on. That's a low blow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're not the only ones who are burning, Tesla among others. So it happens.
That's another misnomer, right? People are always afraid of electric cars that they're going to burn down. I
Yes.
see a lot more. You're driving around with like 20 gallons of very combustible fluid in this that can explode. Can
But
you
a
say
lot of other
Molotov
vehicles
cocktail?
do burn as well. Yeah, I know, and people tend to forget that as well. It's just when you see a lot of recalls, one after the other, and it's one automaker, it makes it definitely seem like it's only that automaker that's having problems. Trust me, other ones are having the same problem as well.
So we just did our podcast with Tommy, and we were just at 24 hours of the Nürburgring.
Oh yeah,
And that's a crazy, crazy. It's on the podcast. Go to alltfl.com. You'll find it there very soon. Right, Jay? Is it up there yet, or are you about to upload it? He's about to upload it, today's version of it. But we were there watching this race, and there's this new KTM race car. I think the old one was called the Expo.
yeah.
There's another one. There's another one now, and it caught fire. And the guy pulls over, of course, right?
Yeah.
But this is hilarious because nobody got injured. So that was what made it cool. So the guy pulls over, he's got this canopy, right? So the canopy comes open and he jumps out and the fire extinguisher guys come out and they start spraying it. And I think the guy in his rush out forgot to set the handbrake or it was melted. I don't know. And so the car takes off down the hill and now you got the fire guys chasing it.
This
so
is
now
on the ring.
Yeah, it's on the ring. So now it's very hilly, right?
Yeah,
so now it's on the ring, like racing on fire.
While the guys are running after it, trying to put it out. Did we get that on camera?
They got it on camera. I'm sure it's a highlight.
Oh,
and then it smashes into the barrier finally,
Oh,
right?
no.
And then somehow the fire jumps from the back. Now it's also at the front. I don't know what happened. So now the front and the back of the car are on fire. And like everybody's kind of looking at like, what the hell do we do now? Because cars are going, there's 140 cars that race that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big race. I mean, 14-mile track, right? It's a lot
It's serious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that was my fire story. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. If you want to check out all of our content, alltfl.com.
That's
if
right.
you want to go bid on a clapped out but clean classic Suburban,
Cleaner. Yeah.
TFL bids, and we got plenty of stuff coming. The most exciting news, of course, is Andre and I are going to go pick up our Lightning.
That's right. We're gonna
that truck is going away over there.
Yeah. We're gonna unfortunately get rid of the TRX, but we are fortunately getting our hands on a Lightning, which ironically is faster. But more importantly,
Quicker.
we will be quicker. Yes, we will be one of the first to get
It
our
might be
hands on a
faster
Lightning.
too. I don't know what the top speed on that thing is. They're not very, it's a truck.
It's
not,
limited because of the tires, and I
Yeah,
know they
yeah.
electronically limited it. Actually, that's a good question for you guys. Anyway,
So we're going to pick it up, and we're going to be the first, well, one of the first, hopefully, to road trip it. We could have had it delivered to Colorado, but me and him are flying on Thursday to Detroit. We're going to
they're going to be knocking on the door at the factory. Give us our truck.
We're going to road trip it, and then we're going to be the first, hopefully. I say it's the first. I think it'll be the first. We're going to try to drive it to the furthest northern point in North America, and that is up to Prudhoe Bay. So that's going to be a big, epic journey, and we're going to be geocaching stuff along the way.
That's right.
We're having a lot of fun with that. So goodbye, TRX. I am sad. I wish I could keep that truck. It's my favorite truck in a long time, but we don't buy them and collect them. We review them, and this has been here a long time.
It's one of the longest.
Year and a half.
One of the longest, but there's a good reason for that. All right, guys, thank you so much.
Because it's got 707 horsepower.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. We will catch you next time.
Ciao.